This is the You, Me, and BTC podcast.
Cryptocurrency decrypted.
Welcome to episode 62. Cody Wilson is a Bitcoin lover and cryptoanarchist with a number of well-known projects. He recently tried to become a board member of the Bitcoin Foundation and promised to completely dissolve the organization if he succeeded. He didn't win the election in the end, but we'll chat about what might have fueled his attitude and whether or not we agree. In other Cody Wilson news, he's offering double the market price for a special 3D printer because the manufacturer, Mark Forged, won't sell to him. Wilson's organization, Defense Distributed, has been 3D printing firearms for some time, and Mark Forged is not comfortable with that. Stay tuned for our thoughts on all that and tons more. Your hosts are Tim Baker, John Stuart, and myself, Daniel Brown. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the You, Me, and BTC podcast. Thanks a lot for joining us, as hopefully you always do, every Thursday. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker
and John Stuart.
So I guess we kind of took a break from our regular recording pattern. It's actually a Tuesday this time. But it is still...
Daniel's lazy.
Yeah, I'm lazy, and I didn't feel like recording on Monday. Well, yeah, I'll say that I was lazy, even though it was more that I was busy. Sorry, that was a little bit passive-aggressive. Anyway.
Really? Just a little bit.
Tuesday, March 3rd, and you guys will be hearing this on Thursday, March 5th. How was your guys' week since, I guess it's been 8 days since we last recorded? Anything good or bad happen?
Well, we're recording on a Tuesday right now, and that's better than a Monday. So
there you go. John always with the optimism coming in.
You got that going for you, or us, or something like that.
I had at least one really good day a couple nights ago. I just, I had a good night. Anyway, so today we want to talk about a lot of Cody Wilson stuff. Cody Wilson is the guy behind Dark Wallet, and I guess we'll explain what that is in a little bit. And I don't know, he just has a couple interesting things in the news, so we figured we'd talk about them. Before we jump into that, I want to tell you guys about a pretty interesting website called thebitcoinstrip.com. So I guess we've mentioned this on the show before, how I occasionally get, a little bit of the gambling bug. I enjoy gambling maybe more than I should sometimes. I don't know. It's not terrible. I've
only seen him smile in the past year when he was gambling. When he was putting money down to try and take other people's money that you hadn't earned, you horrible person.
That's true.
And his eyes light up, and he just comes alive and he doesn't shut up, and he just talks. But yeah,
no, you're right. I get excited when I gamble. But anyway, Bitcoin and gambling go together quite well, actually. I mean, it's a perfect way to gamble online with Bitcoin. It just makes sense. So there's this website, thebitcoinstrip.com, where it lists a ton of Bitcoin casinos. I mean,
so many.
Yeah, I mean, gambling
so many.
It sounds like you're being sarcastic, but I don't think you are, because there's a lot here.
No, how does it sound like I'm being sarcastic?
Because you're like, so many.
There are.
Yeah, because, like I said, that Bitcoin and online gambling go perfect together. So there are a ton of websites out there. It's kind of one of the biggest industries in Bitcoin, one of the first industries and stuff. So anyway, if you're trying to figure out what all these casinos are like, how they're different, which ones are the biggest, this homepage just has a ton of data about how much was gambled at different casinos, what kind of games they offer. Are they dice games? Are they card games? There's a Minesweeper game here. Which cryptocurrencies do they accept? Literally just all kinds of information. The perfect hub for Bitcoin gambling. Just come here, explore the different casinos, explore the different games, see which ones you like, which ones you don't like. There's all these stats and reviews and stuff. So, yeah, check that out, thebitcoinstrip.com. Like I said, it's my kind of thing. That's what I do sometimes. Not too much. I don't think I have an addiction yet.
Before we move on to anything else, what happened with Seals with Clubs? Does anyone know?
Yeah, I did.
Like, did you follow that? I was just looking at something on Google on my phone.
Right. I haven't investigated it a ton, but what I heard was basically the creator or an administrator or something was his house was stormed by the cops, and he went through a week or so of I don't know if he was held or just trying to figure stuff out, but eventually he just moved out of the country, and he's starting a ripoff called, instead of Seals with Clubs, it's like SWC Poker or something. So yeah. he just,
at least
just moved out of the country and restarted it.
Why do they do this stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently he also had his wife and kids were in the house too when he was stormed, which is dumb.
Yeah. Why would you storm it? You break into a house, you do stuff like that. Like they broke into his house, like with a SWAT team. Is that what happened?
I don't know all the details, but I think, yeah, pretty much.
Is that what it sounded like?
Yeah.
The entire point of that is, like, the reason why they start doing that is because people will flush drugs. Why are you doing that if it's a Bitcoin website?
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's no reason to do this stuff to people, but whatever.
Is Seals with Clubs a Bitcoin thing?
That was the poker.
Yeah, it was like
poker website. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I knew.
We just played Texas Hold'em on it.
I knew it was a poker thing, but I didn't know if it was Bitcoin or if it was just...
Yeah, it was exclusively Bitcoin.
Yeah, that was one of the first and, kind of best known websites, and that I played my fair share of Seals with Clubs.
Yeah.
Actually, I might have even had a little bit of money in there. I didn't even think of that. I wonder if I can still get it. I don't really care. It's a few bucks, but anyway, I guess we can jump into some Cody Wilson stuff. And I guess we'll start with, I don't know, all this weird Bitcoin Foundation elections, all that stuff. Do you want to tell us what went down, Tim?
Well, Cody Wilson, as we all know, likes to, he really just seems to enjoy just with whatever, just kind of bothering people. And it's never in like an openly, it's not even like completely malicious most of the time. It's just most of the time it just seems like he just enjoys like screwing up people's plans. And so he was looking, this happened recently, where Cody was going to run to become, was it head of the Bitcoin Foundation? I'm not even sure, or just get elected to be part of it.
Yeah, I think just on the board, yeah.
He was going to get on the board of the Bitcoin Foundation and then would just constantly try to shut it down and take it and make it go away. And he, unfortunately, I would say, didn't get elected. A lot of people didn't come out for it. I didn't even really know how you could. I mean, I'm pretty sure he probably put up a link saying how to do it, and I just ignored it because I was an asshole, and I apologize.
No, wait, Cody. You mean voting?
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much because I'm not sure, but I'm fairly certain that that's not open to the public. I think just the people that are already on the board do the voting, I thought.
No. How does that work, though? There's no way they do it like that. Because the article, it said he, only 364 of the 1,523 eligible members registered to vote in the election.
Huh.
So, yeah, it probably didn't include people like us, but who's that 1,500 people?
Oh, I wonder if you can be like a member of the Bitcoin Foundation.
don't you pay for that or something?
You probably do. I mean, it's kind of like maybe like a club that you join and pay dues and stuff. That might be how it works.
We should probably know this.
No, well, I don't want to really know anything about the foundation.
That's what I was going to say. That I know Tim's opinion is
we can
who
just
cares.
say that, and then I say who cares because I don't want to take the time to look at it.
Well, wait.
Maybe I don't care.
I feel like if you hate them, that should be even more reason to know about them.
No.
Yeah.
We will not see other people's opinions.
Isn't there like a proverb about that? Like, whoever...
What do you mean?
Keep your enemies close or something? Or keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
I was really hoping you were going to come up with something more profound than that.
Yeah.
There's got to there is another better one, but...
The wisest man is the man who knows his enemies.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Well, I do want to just to get a more direct thought from Cody. This is a quote about his plans. This was before the election. I will run on a platform of the complete disillusion of the Bitcoin Foundation and will begin and end every one of my public statements with that message. So that was his plan. And honestly, we were talking about this just a little bit earlier. It sounds a lot like what Kokesh always says while he's running for president. He always says he's running on the platform of an orderly dissolution of the federal government. And that's got a lot of the same words here, so I thought that was interesting. Anyway, do you have anything from that article, Tim, about what happened after?
We're looking at an article from animalnewyork.com, which when we first looked at it, we had no idea what it was. It looks like a pretty decent site.
Yeah, it looks decent, but I think we still have no clue what it is. But
yeah, I mean, this may all be lies. I don't know, but if it's a lie, I do like the way this is written. It's talking about Wilson's views on the foundation. He calls the Bitcoin Foundation the counter-revolution and is afraid it's holding the technology back. I think playing into that opens their door and creates the kind of spider webs and social and political shackles that prevent us from doing the more interesting things in Bitcoin, Wilson said over the phone. It deforms what would otherwise be the defense that makes the software the human network and turns it into sameness, he said. It just turns it into another lobby. Okay, I don't have any idea what I just said there. It deforms what would otherwise be the defense that makes the net software the human. Okay, I guess he's saying that Bitcoin, because it's supposed to be very personal, which is, I mean, that would make sense with his almost obsession with, no, it's not an obsession, but he's very adamant about providing security for people and anonymity because he wants it to be a personal thing. He doesn't want people kind of being out in the open like everybody else, and at least I think. Yeah. Right? I mean, does that make sense what he's saying there? Because it says the defense that makes the software the human network.
Right. He's saying...
Because it's like a connection of people instead of just bank number. Whoa.
Right. And he's saying that that's what could be without the Bitcoin Foundation. He's saying that's what he wants things to be like. He wants software to be the human network, but the Bitcoin Foundation is holding that back. Which, I guess, I don't know, do you guys know any specific examples of what the Bitcoin Foundation even does? I mean...
They go to the governments and they whine and they beg to not have regulations put down.
Yeah,
and sometimes they get them.
It says the foundation has a record of discouraging government regulation, which...
I think,
as I said earlier, we should probably know about this stuff. Because the Bitcoin Foundation is pretty big.
Yeah.
If we're going to be the people talking about Bitcoin, we should probably know some stuff about them.
Right. That's a good point. I still have a little bit of I don't really care about the Bitcoin Foundation, but I think you're right. It's an important thing.
Well, for one, I'm looking at their website, and it does look kind of like what you're saying, like a club, but you sign up as a supporter. Okay. And they have different
levels.
Yeah.
Okay. See, here's what kind of the interesting dynamic is, because it says, like I just said, it says the foundation has a record of discouraging government regulation. That's the kind of thing we would definitely like. I know that's the kind of thing Cody would definitely like. So the question
No, he doesn't like it. He doesn't. You've never seen him ever asking for. They're asking for permission.
Right.
His entire thing is saying we don't need to do
Exactly.
that with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, let's just go through it.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying like we shouldn't have to lobby against regulation. We should just ignore the regulations.
Well, that, and I think rightly thinks that obviously a lobby is very, very easily turned into exactly what they originally are fighting against, if they're not even already corrupted at the beginning.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So you're saying when people lobby, they're just...
Well, any kind of group that gets together, and this goes into everything, but especially like in the politics, or I'm thinking of unions, stuff like that, where it's, you have these people, because you bring it all together, and then you elect leaders who are then put in big positions of power, and no matter what they're really doing, whether they're corrupt at the beginning, or if they're good at the beginning, and then they just have this power, and then they're put in these situations where they're dealing with people who want to screw them over, and they'll give them stuff and try to trip them into stuff like that. And lobbies, I'm ranting so much. This doesn't even make sense. But I guess what I'm trying to say is just that any kind of building a leadership to fight against other leadership, both of those are going to end up still not doing doing what's the best for people who elected.
Yeah, I think I understand that, and this is definitely a generalization, but the way I would see it is like, even if the Bitcoin Foundation wins their lobby, and it just seems like if the government makes a decision not to regulate Bitcoin, even that seems a little like... Yeah, this is something we talk about a lot. It just comes down to the fact that the government is corrupt at its core. So even if the government makes a decision not to regulate Bitcoin, that still is, in a way, it's kind of a corrupt decision. And especially when you have money flying around through lobbyists and stuff, it just seems like it has to have a tendency to cause problems, I think.
Well, it's a slow-moving thing. I think his other thing that he says about how it's slow-moving and he wants to see Bitcoin expand faster and bigger is because they're putting all this effort into working within the legal confines, versus putting all the effort in going, why do we even care if you regulate Bitcoin? It's going to be anonymous. You can't track any of this. Just make that obsolete. Don't even worry about trying to go, oh, please don't take our taxes. Just go, we're going to make the best mixers available, and we're going to make all this anonymous, and you can do whatever you want. We don't really care anymore.
Right. Well, and I think your point about it being slow is a huge factor too, because
it has to be slow. The system, it's slow. It's people having to talk, and they have to get paid to sit there, and judges make stupid amounts of money doing nothing.
The thing is, like, I don't see why it matters, because there are plenty of people not in the Bitcoin Foundation who are doing stuff. It's not like they're controlling the rate of how fast these things develop.
No, but that's actually kind of what I was going to say is, I'm not sure I agree with you, John, because there are so many people out there who don't start businesses, and they don't innovate, and they don't develop because they're just waiting to see if the government's to see what the government's gonna say about Bitcoin. And I mean, it's hard to know exactly how much that happens, but I think it does happen a lot, where there's just people saying, well, I don't know what the government's gonna say about Bitcoin, so I'm gonna not start this business. Or
you're talking about the government. I was talking about the Bitcoin Foundation.
Well, right, but I think the problem is that the Bitcoin Foundation, or I don't know if I completely support this, but at least from Cody Wilson's perspective, I think what he's saying is the Bitcoin Foundation, because they care so much about the government, because they put so much effort into lobbying, then people think, oh, we're going to see what the government says. We're going to wait. We'll try and get it so that it's not regulated, but we're not going to do anything until a decision's made. And then, like Tim was saying, well, that just takes forever. And a lot of times,
it's just not even. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying just they put all this effort into, because it seems like in my short amount of time trying to act like we have any idea what we're talking about with the foundation. It seems like they just set up they have a lot of events to try to get like awareness out and to talk about stuff, and so they're putting all this money into these events, and it's just Wilson. I mean, it's like it doesn't matter. This very much reminds me of like an atheist going after Christians or just like any religion, but normally in this country, like he's like they're holding us back from advancing. That's normally what you hear there. So I see it almost as kind of like a religious kind of thing with Wilson for Bitcoin and like what it could be, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that makes more sense. I mean, maybe I still don't understand what you were trying to say, Daniel, but if his whole thing is, why don't we just ignore the government? I don't understand why that, like, you can't just ignore
the foundation.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Like, I don't understand why the foundation would slow things down more than just people listening to the government.
Right. I mean, I think that's a really good point. Like, you could just ignore the foundation. So yeah, maybe we should be telling people that. But I still think part of Cody Wilson's point is like the Bitcoin Foundation is encouraging people to get approval when we shouldn't have to get approval. But you're right. We could also just be telling people to ignore the Bitcoin Foundation. So
yeah, I mean, that's more what Tim's saying. I think it's like, just instead of trying to like get on the board and destroy them, just like, why don't you make them not matter anymore?
Right.
Well, he's trying to do that. He's trying to make them. I mean, he's just trying. I mean, he's like, if you guys let me on here, I'm going to destroy it. But I mean, there was very, very small amount of percentage of a chance that he was going to get on there.
Right. And I think that, I guess maybe that really is kind of what it comes down to, is that's what he was trying to do. He wasn't actually trying to get on, because I don't think people
wouldn't have done much.
Would elect him. I think he was just trying to make the point that, hey, why don't we just ignore them because they don't make sense.
I don't think he was actually like thought he was going to get on, especially from the way he was saying it, like he's going to start every single time he talking about how we should destroy them.
Yeah.
That more just sounds like he
should come with torches.
He's just trying to make waves.
Yeah, it just sounds more like a troll, which actually this is a good time to bring this up. In that article we were talking about, he's talking about Reddit threads in this article, and says that some people seem to think he speaks their exact thoughts, while others think he's an attention whore with no morals. And I mean, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but...
Right. I think this fits in actually really well with, again, the way Kokesh kind of behaves, is like, his plan is he's going to run for president on the platform of dissolving the federal government. And it maybe it seems almost identical. Like there's probably no chance of him getting elected, but his goal is more to just get messages out there to say, hey, do we really have to focus so much on the government?
Stop
it's like
caring about
he's running for government so that he can send the message that we don't really have to worry about the government.
Yeah. I think the difference is that Wilson seems more like he's just trolling, versus Kokesh seems a little bit more like serious about it.
Right. I could see that.
Whenever he does stuff like this, he seems like he's trolling, but then he kind of like just like fully goes into that for the entire time that he's doing it.
He's just a really committed troll.
Yeah, or like he never,
like
but he never breaks.
Yeah,
he like never breaks frame during that though, and it's like, dude, just break it for it's a joke, man. Just you realize that, right? It's like you're not actually going to be president. But I mean, maybe you will. But
I mean,
at the very end,
sometimes that's just some people's humor, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people are like, they need to take things to the fullest extent.
I don't like that humor, though, so it's bad. It's stupid.
Well, to be honest, though, I don't know if it is humor to him. Like, because you are right. He never breaks face. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he actually...
Yeah, I can see him being one of the people who's just like very, very positive, like a great person, like I would love him, but I like couldn't be around him just because I'm too negative most of the time, and it just, the positivity just starts to, unless, like, there are a few
He doesn't
people
seem
that,
that
like, really
positive to me.
I
the
think
last few times, when was the last time you've listened to him?
I don't know.
I
I
think
mean,
he's-
I'm
he
just
got-
going off from like what his Twitter is normally like.
Oh, I mean, his Twitter isn't, but like, whenever he got like way more, I mean, first it was because of the weed, but no, I don't think he's allowed to smoke. Or maybe he is.
no, I think it is really
He's drinking now too, but
I think it is really a transition. Like he's becoming more positive, and
yeah, and he's talked about that.
Right,
He's talked
exactly.
about, like, I'm in control of my happiness, and if you let yourself get mad at it, and that's, like, we were talking about this the other day, Daniel, or I was trying to, when you were showing the video with the cops. It was from Liberty.me, someone you knew through there had made it, right?
yep.
Okay. And I was telling you, like, I'm like, I know I've seen, like, a lot of because it was a compilation video of people, and it was police brutality videos, and I'd seen a lot of it before, because he was saying, like, well, because we were just getting angry, and I'm like, I don't look at this stuff because I know it'll set me off, and I don't want, like, again, going back to what Adam was talking about, if you let yourself get angry at the government and just be constantly be in that anger kind of phase of, then you're still letting them control you. You're still a slave to them because they put you in a negative mind all the time.
Right.
But if you can, if you want to be happy, it's not a choice for everybody, but I think for a lot of people, it could be.
So here's a question. Well, first of all, I'll just say I'll link to that video in the show notes if anybody wants to see it, just if you care. But bringing this back to Wilson, here's a question. I'll call this trolling just to say that, just to use a term. Maybe it is trolling, maybe it's not. But do you think that whatever Wilson is doing this way, the way that he's running for this office, or that he tried to and was trying to send all these messages, there's two ways that you could look at it, and I'm going to ask you which one you think it is more likely. Either he's kind of being fierce, and he's like really like, you guys are, this is dumb. We really have to get rid of the Bitcoin Foundation.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Did you just say fierce?
Yeah.
I don't think he means it the way you think he means it. I think
You
he
mean
means it
that
like
like Lord of the Rings
the
fierce,
actual
okay.
literal way it's
Okay.
supposed to be used.
I haven't heard it. I don't think I've ever heard it said out loud like that. Besides talking about a lion on TV.
Wait, what?
Carry on.
What else does it mean?
like fierce, like how like gay guys say it.
Wow, profiling.
I know.
It's like when your
Or like-
girlfriend wears an awesome outfit and you're like, "Damn, girl, you look fierce."
I
Yeah,
don't know if
or-
I've ever heard that.
Are you serious?
How have you never heard that?
I don't know.
That would have made more
I-
sense if I was a girl saying your girlfriend, or like, you know what I mean? Because then it sounds like I'm complimenting my my significant other, and that's not what I meant. I meant like your friend, who's whatever. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if it's a girl. I just think I've heard it more that way.
Anyway, after Tim interrupted my magnificent monologue, well, I'll try and make it a little bit more concise this time, and I'll try not to use the word fierce. But Tim was just talking about how, you know, you kind of should control your own happiness and try and be happy. And the question then, bringing that to Wilson, do you think his trolling is him being angry and upset, or do you think it's him having a good time and trying to be happy and just joke about things? That was the main question. Is he angry and upset, or is he having a good time trolling?
I don't know. I think it's kind of in between.
Yeah, I think
Because I thought I was pretty sure at first it was a joke, but then I did see the one tweet where he's like, who wants to pay me to beat the piss out of Gavin? And I was like, I've never heard him joke like that before.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it is. Like, if I did something like that, like, you would see that and not be like, oh, Tim actually wants to beat the guy. But normally Wilson's like, oh, yes, this is, like, great. Like, he makes fun of people, but,
I don't know. I mean, I think you can be joking and serious at the same time. I think a lot of people do that a lot. It seems kind of like that to me.
So then, Tim, based on your kind of philosophical thoughts about making yourself happy, even if it is somewhere in between, do you think that it's good for him to do this and just have fun, or do you think it's a bad idea for him to try all this stuff?
I think it's great.
All right.
I don't care. I'm pretty much entertained by almost every single thing this man does.
Okay, that answers the question.
Well, entertained.
Keep going, man. Entertained and inspired. Although I didn't want to say inspired because it hasn't really inspired me to do anything besides write a very long-winded thing that I think I eventually gave to Daniel, and was posted at some point.
Wait.
One of those one of the articles that I did that you put up on the website.
One of them had to do with Wilson?
No, it was just like inspired by that or something like that.
All right. Well, any other quotes or anything that we should do on that?
Oh, wait, that's what I mean to bring that up. Wilson, he's talking about how, where on Twitter he was kind of angry, or at least he was saying, or he was seeming like he was angry. Again, maybe he was joking, but and he was going, you see, like, you bastards, you see what you've done, like, this could have been great, Bitcoin could have been great, and he was saying, like, it was lost. At least I think it had to do with this, it might have been something else. But in this article, Wilson sees the pretty low turnout of 364 of the eligible 1,523 actually registered. Wilson sees it as a sign of the foundation's incompetence crawling deeper into irrelevance. Let's face it, right? For a technology and a group that represents Bitcoin, that should be next generation both in technology and capability, to use the same old parliamentary trick, maybe it's not obvious to you, but I think it's pretty sad. So, I mean, he probably accomplished what he meant to do.
So, I guess by the parliamentary trick, is he talking about, like, only 364 of them voted, and only a portion of those people actually voted for whoever won. So it's like, 150, 180 people or whatever are making a decision for 1,500 people, and everyone just goes with it. Is that what he means by like a parliamentary trick?
I think he's saying just the use of the government, just in general, just that old. Because whenever he talks about this stuff, he never seems to come at, not never, I shouldn't say never. He doesn't normally come at it from a moral standpoint of this is wrong because it's violence and you shouldn't force people to do stuff. He tends to come at it from, this is so inefficient, why would you ever do this? You can do so much more and we can go so much further in advancements. And that, he's not one of these people who would have, I mean, he's a cryptoanarchist. He's an anarchist because he believes that technology is what would allow it. He's not one of the ones that's going to make an argument or have to defend how anarchy would have worked in the medieval times. Like, he doesn't believe it. He believes that connecting people as individuals is what's going to do it, and not electing people, which is an old thing. He thinks that because it's Bitcoin, then why don't you have a new, better, more streamlined, faster way of representing it, or just don't represent it. Just have everybody be part of it.
Right.
But that takes a dedicated user base too. So
yeah, I mean,
that's not something you can't just be like, well, we're going to have everybody do it, because some people are like, I don't want to. That's too much. I don't want to have to mix my coins.
That's the same thing.
I don't want to have to encrypt stuff.
Same thing, I think, with what I was saying before about, like, where it seemed like he was blaming them for things going slower. I don't think that's necessarily anybody's fault. It just, these things don't happen quickly.
Yeah. And I think also he's just stirring up controversy and publicity for himself, I think. Because
he's an attention whore with no morals.
Yeah. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. there's a lot of people who do a lot of good stuff who are exactly that, because they just go, well, I need to get some light on this issue, so I might as well jump on this. And
well, I mean,
I don't
that
think
kind
he
of
doesn't
gets
have
rid
any
of the no
morals,
morals
but,
part.
yeah.
But yeah,
but
yeah.
attention horror.
I mean, I was
attention
being
horror.
facetious with that anyways, I guess.
Yeah. You need an attention horror whenever you do stuff like this, I think.
I don't know, was Gandhi an attention whore?
Well, Gandhi didn't have to print 3D guns. Did somebody kill Gandhi?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure.
Because I thought he died of natural causes, but then I also thought I heard something about him getting killed, but
I don't think he was
from the most reliable source.
I don't think he was killed. The thing is, that dude was like screwed up. He like fasted all the time and crap, and like people beat him and things. So like, I don't know. I mean,
yeah. Anyway, that was interesting. We got on to the philosophy of happiness and Gandhi's death, all in one
Just
topic.
be happy.
at least we didn't start talking about Gandhi's poop.
Yeah, I almost did. Oh man.
You're listening to the You, Me, and BTC podcast. We need your help. First of all, we'd love it if you could check out our website, youmeandbtc.com. There you can find donation addresses for every single article and episode, and we'd love it if you could make use of those. We could also use some fans and followers, so if you're willing, please visit Facebook or Twitter.com/youmeandbtc. Lastly, remember to subscribe to the show. You can do that on iTunes or sign up on our website to receive email updates. Thanks for your support.
Alright, hey everybody, welcome back. Since we were talking about Cody Wilson anyway, what really got this whole conversation started was what came out, was it today? No.
Yeah, just
No, it
today.
came out yesterday. Oh yeah, it just turned. Okay. Yeah. Came out today, March 3rd at 7 a.m. It's a article from Wired, and the title is Gun Group Will Pay $15K for Your Carbon Fiber 3D Printer. And this is Defense Distributed, another one of Cody Wilson's groups that he's involved in, that he does a lot of work with. They're the group most famous for their fully 3D printable Liberator pistol that was invented by Defense Distributed in 2013. That's what really that's what blew them up in a good way, but also that's what really put a target on their back from the government and from a lot of anti-gun people, because it's one thing for people to have guns in their house, it's another thing for anyone to be able to print a gun anywhere for these groups. And also, Defense Distributed has gotten a lot into building magazines for places like New York, where you can't have those magazines and they can't be sold, so you just get one of these and you print them.
Right.
So a lot of people don't like Cody Wilson. According to him, he pre-ordered this new 3D printer that's coming out. It's a Mark 1, and what's special about it is it can print carbon fiber, which I'll get to that in a little bit, but Wilson says he pre-ordered the Mark 1 about a year ago for $8,000, but was told last Friday in a phone call with a Mark Forge salesman that the company refuses to sell him one, citing terms of service that disallow private citizens from using the machine to make firearms. So instead, Wilson is offering what he describes as a bounty. So he's what?
I didn't know that. In my head, I was thinking it would probably just be like an email or something where they told him that they wouldn't give it to him, but apparently it was a phone call. I'd love to know what that phone call was like.
Yeah. He said, we can't sell... What?
Where do you live? What's your name?
So, anyway, Wilson continued, anyone who's got access to one, any reseller, any individual business or entity that can deliver it to me, I will give them $15,000, says Wilson, who has also released a YouTube video advertising his offer. he says, I'm going to get this printer, I'm going to make a gun with it, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows it was made with a Mark Forged printer.
See, that's kind of exactly in line with what we were just saying about how he's trying to make waves. Because if you think about it, he could probably do this with a different printer, but he doesn't care.
No, he can't.
He wants to...
can't. I thought he could. I thought he could before. But I mean, really, one of the main reasons he's doing it and that he's going to so publicly do it is just because they're going, oh, well, we don't really like it because we don't think that private citizens should be allowed to do it.
Right.
But the thing that's so special about it is that, like I said, it's a carbon fiber. And it says if the group gets its hands on one of the Mark Forged carbon fiber 3D printers, it could potentially demonstrate homemade lethal weapons that are far more durable and practical. Mark Forged advertises that its material, plastic polymer laced with carbon fiber strands, is 20 times stiffer than typical 3D printing plastic and 5 times stronger. And they have a quote from one of the defense distributed engineers. Says they're looking especially at the improving the Liberator because it tends to crack or deform after a few shots. And he says, if you could add that, if you could use a barrel, that's the biggest problem because it expands. And if you use a barrel with strands of carbon fiber wound around its rings would withstand much greater hoop stress, as Sullivan calls it. The barrel won't expand. It's just beautiful, Sullivan says. This is a gun machine they've made and we want to make a gun on it. So I think that's the big reason is because it can do this new thing. And they're like, well, this is exactly what we need. And we're going to get it, and we don't really care how much we have to pay for. I mean, not that we don't care, but
honestly,
we're willing to pay $7,000 extra.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they'll make that back, no problem.
Oh yeah, from donations.
Well, donations and publicity and all that, yeah.
No, I mean, but they're nonprofit. That's the other thing I should have read from the beginning. It's, if you don't know, Defense Distributed their nonprofit political group. That's what they call themselves.
Yeah.
Like they don't, and if you look at it, they don't sell stuff. Except they sell like t-shirts, I think. And they're just black.
Well, you said the thing about them saying that they don't think people should be able to make guns with this. That, I don't know. I don't really believe that. I think if you think that a business is that, like, idealistic, that's pretty optimistic of you. I think it's probably more just that they're afraid. I mean, how many things have we talked about where, I mean, even with like stuff like the Silk Road where people get in trouble for things that people have done with stuff that they've made. I mean, like, I think it's probably less that they actually care what people do with it and more that they're going to get in trouble for what people do with it later.
Yeah, but this company has enough contracts already with the government. They have I don't know if they have contracts with the government. They have contracts with stuff like Boeing. And I don't know how much the government's going to go after them for that. But, I mean, it may be that the government's just putting pressure on them, but Mark Forge isn't really doing anything to say we don't want to do this because of legal things. They're saying, I'll go from the article, in a statement to Wired, Mark Forge cited terms of service that limit experimentation with ordnance to the United States government and its authorized contractors. In fact, the company's terms of service page does not include that statement, but it does reserve the right for the company to refuse sale to anyone, even after an order is placed. Our website automatically took Mr. Wilson's pre-order, and we certainly regret that we did not catch this sooner. Mark Forge's statement continues, we are expediting his refund with interest. I really need to stop. Is it expediting?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the thing about them that's not part of their actual website, what they said. I mean, to me, it just sounds more like a business thing than they actually care that much what he actually does with it.
Yeah, but I mean, some people do have problems.
Yeah, but I feel like
kind of gun.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like too cynical to think that they actually did it because they care about something.
I mean, I don't know how big the company is either. It might be a small enough thing that it's like one guy making a decision. Like the boss is just like, no, I don't like guns. My son got killed by one.
Well, I mean,
I have no idea how big I mean, obviously, it's
the
not
thing
one
is,
guy.
you have to think about the fact that if like Wilson does this and then he gets on like, I've talked, like, so many people have heard about, nobody knows who Wilson is, but so many people have heard about the 3D printed gun. They're like, oh, didn't some guy make a 3D printed gun? Like, everybody knows about that. And if somebody, if that gets linked with their thing, people are going to be like, oh, well, I don't want to get a 3D printer from these.
You've unleashed upon the world.
Yeah, or like I don't want to get a 3D printer from these people because they support terrorists or something like that. Like that's what people are gonna think. I guess that's what I'm saying. It's more of like they're trying to protect their image more than they actually care about what somebody does with what they make.
You said something interesting because I remember watching something he was talking about. I think it was Vice's Vice News. One of their episodes they did on him, I think, or on Defense Distributed, and he says like this was supposed to be a safe technology. This was supposed to be something good, kind of like what you're talking about. Like if you like this company, if they make this printer and Wilson gets it, they're gonna kind of get, if anything bad happens, or if nothing bad happens, but just that. Now there's this capability, they're going to get looked down upon. But he said that for, like, when they first did the Liberator, it turned this whole technology into something that a lot of people seem to change their opinions about. Cause like before people were like, oh, it's like toys, it's like cool stuff, like maybe you could start doing buildings, and then it's like, oh, no, here's a gun. And it kind of made people get a little bit antsy. It's like, oh, we don't like this anymore. And so I think this just goes back to him just liking just to make people uncomfortable. I think he just enjoys doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with most of it, but I might have a problem with the thing about him, like, wanting, like, it has to be this printer, and I'm going to make sure that everybody knows it, just because...
I love that.
I mean, not that I think that I could, like, defend from a logical standpoint why that's, like, absolutely morally wrong. I think it's more just like being an asshole. Yeah, because I mean, like if they, like I said, I feel like the company's doing this to protect themselves as a company in the first place, and you're kind of just like shaming somebody because you didn't get what you wanted.
Yeah, but now if he does it like this, then they don't have a problem.
Right, then it won't be on Mark Forged's shoulders if he does this now, because Mark Forged.
Yeah, they're like, hey man, we didn't sell it to him, man.
Right, exactly. Yep.
We didn't.
I don't know, but I don't know. People I think would still get like a weird thing about it just thinking about it. I mean, like, I don't know why it doesn't, like, there's no reason why he needs to tell people that it was this printer. If all he wants is the gun, it, like, they talk about how they want it because it's going to be so much stronger and the gun's going to work better and it's not going to break as much. Like, okay, like, then just get it. You don't need to talk about who it's from. Like, you don't even need to tell people that you got it. Just get it and start making the guns if that's what you want to do.
There may have been something said during that phone call, too, that's kind of set him off. Or maybe he was just having a bad day. Maybe he's just... Because they keep on getting bothered by this stuff. Like, it's just constantly they get people coming after him. I mean, he kind of does it to himself sometimes, but... Because he's involved with that dark... Like, he does the Defense Distributed. He's going out trying to take down the Bitcoin Foundation. Isn't he involved in the dark market thing too? And dark wallet? Both of those.
Yeah.
No, like, every single person who likes anything about America hates this guy because he is against like, you can be like some libertarians don't even like him just because he's just so, like, just guns, let's just make guns, let's just give them out everywhere.
Yeah.
But for him, he doesn't seem to be like, I hate the government. It's more just like, I just like messing with it. I think we can do better, and while it's still around, I just want to make it look as stupid and ridiculous as I can, and now we can because of the internet. And so what are we going to do? What does he focus on? He focuses on anonymizing money and making guns available everywhere.
Right.
I think what I was saying was less about what he's actually doing and more about how he's doing it. I think you have the right to be an asshole, obviously. I just, like, personally wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
an asshole about how I do things.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
Well, and I wouldn't say, I'm not sure I would say that he was just like having a bad day or something set him off either, because it like we've been saying, this is kind of what he's like. He likes to make waves. That's what he was doing with the Bitcoin Foundation and stuff. So I don't think he just got really upset. I think this is something that he enjoys doing, and you know, you can decide if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think this is kind of just the way he is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Sweet.
You don't sound stupid.
Thanks for listening to episode 62. All of the music in today's show was from John Stuart. Remember to check out this week's show notes at youmeandbtc.com and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the Bitcoin Foundation and Cody Wilson's 3D printed guns. Remember to tune in this Saturday for a special Bitcoin in the Arts with John Stuart. And we'll see you next Thursday for another You, Me, and BTC.